Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Man, this is how much I know. Welcome back to Gunners Collective TV. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on also. That way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. I appreciate all your support. Thank you, man. I couldn't do it without you. So, man, did you guys see what happened the other day with Trump? Troop, right? That was them were gangster tactics being used. See, people, they don't read between the lines and they don't really see what's going on. Was it a setup? Was it the old Folsom setup? Was that all pre-planned? I don't know, right? I'm not going to pick and choose sides, but one thing I can say for sure is I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life, right? You know, other presidents from other countries, dignitaries, anybody like that, invited to a setting like the White House and walking in wearing a motherfucking New Balance sweatsuit. This Volta came in wearing some Under Armour gear and expects to be taken seriously. You know, look, I have nothing against Ukraine. I feel bad for the people over there. You know, war is war. I've been through wars, maybe not those type of wars, and I can't compare myself to that, but I've been through wars on the yards in prison, in the youth authority. I've seen things I shouldn't have seen, participated in things I definitely would never, ever participate in again. Hopefully not, right? But to come in with your head bowed, dressed like, you know, a guy from Star Trek, and to sit down and voice your opinion, I can respect it, but not have, you know, the wherewithal to understand the surroundings, the settings, and play the game. You know, even if you feel some type of way, the United States has done so many things to help facilitate this war as far as helping you to still be able to wear that Under Armour sweatsuit, and a simple thank you or appreciation is not merited. That's crazy, right? So there was some gangster tactics that were thrown around. See, before these meetings happen, people talk. You know, that's just like if I'm kicking back with the homie and I'm like, hey, this Valto's coming over right now. Look at this, how we're going to do it. We're going to do it like this and like that and like this. And if he gets out of line, we're going to let him have it. Okay. And so the first misstep in this situation was even allowing the press to be in the presence of the Oval Office and let them be there to dictate shit. My immediate reaction when I first seen what was going on, when that reporter asked Zelensky why he didn't wear a suit, I felt two things. Here's the first thing. First of all, yeah, motherfucker, why aren't you wearing a suit? This is the White House. Okay, you're not Easy-E with the Jerry curl dripping. We see Super Bowl winners. We see the NFL, NBA, all these guys, they come in, even these players that are used to wearing that type of gear, they put a suit on because it's respecting the White House. And you might not like Trump, you might not like J.D. Vance, you might not like people that are there, but you have to respect the White House and the American people and make yourself presentable, man. There's times and places for everything. That's like me going to a fucking funeral wearing a sweatsuit. Nope, no can do. Or me going to church, you know, wearing a fucking pair of 501s and an Under Armour t-shirt. It's not going to happen. You get dressed up because you read the room. Okay, everyone else has suits. And I understand, you know, you don't have to listen to every other man. You don't got to be like every other man. And Zelensky has his reasoning why he's doing what he does. But, man, when you're in the presence of, you know, the White House or anything, dress accordingly. So that was my first thing. Like, wow, look at this about coming in wearing, you know, a TikTok pants. I was tripping. The second thing was, you know, have some respect for yourself and your people. You're representing a nation. You're representing a country that is war-torn, a country that, you know, there's a lot of people that have an opinion, but they don't know the history on Russia and the Ukraine and the reasons why this war is even happening in the first place, you know, about, you know, words being broken, agreements being broken. There's a lot that has happened. And it's very simply put, one country invaded another country, and that country has asked for help and continues to ask for help. And when given help, it seems like it's kind of like the representative for that country, Zelensky, is like we deserve it, or it's mandatory, or you should do that, rather than thank you. We appreciate it, man, tremendously. You know, if it would have started with that, I think it could have been different. Now, as far as having the press there and letting the press get involved as far as why aren't you wearing a suit, that guy should have shut the fuck up. Let's be real. You know, he was instigating something and asking a question. I mean, be it the press could ask whatever they want, and they're there to stir up conflict and drama. That was a drama-filled question. There was nothing gangster about that. There was nothing real about that. That was an asshole, you know, trying to stir the pot. Let's be real, okay? He should have never been in that room in the first place. I think that things like this, I'm sure have happened before behind closed doors, but to see it on the world stage, man, was crazy because it impacts everybody. You know, this is serious things going on here. There's a war in the Ukraine, and people are dying every day. Yeah, but there's a lot of money also being thrown around in aid of Ukraine, and we don't know where the money's going to. You know, we don't, be real. When you go to spend your money somewhere, you get to see where it's going. You get to take home what you buy, or even if you order online, it comes eventually when it fucking comes, right? And you get to see what you've ordered or what you bought. But when we're sending billions of taxpayer dollars to a country because we're aiding them in a war and we're not seeing exactly where this money's going, there's people that are going to be questioning that. There's people that are going to be like, where'd that little $25 I sent you go? Right? People want to know. But we're talking about billions of taxpayers, American dollars. Of course, the people have questions. Now, was this a setup? Because I've been hearing, oh, it was a setup. They planned to do this to him. To be honest with you guys, I don't know. I know that Donald Trump likes to sensationalize things. He likes to make things a little wild. But as I seen in this press conference, he was kind of, you know, even though he was throwing little jabs here and there as Zelensky, I think they've met each other in the past. You know, they know each other's mindset. And he was trying to make him comfortable. He was shocked that the guy was dressed the way he was. He was shocked that Zelensky was being a little bit more quiet. And Zelensky definitely went in there with a chip on his shoulder for whatever reason. And and I can give it to you guys straight up without picking sides or sugarcoating, no added preservatives, just my opinion, right? You're here for my opinion. This is real. Zelensky's upset. He doesn't like the Trump administration because the administration previously, he was getting a lot of aid. All he had to do was snap his fingers and billions were being sent. And Biden was making sure that, you know, them kickbacks and all them things that was happening. And they had a good working relationship because who wouldn't? When you had a president that's just providing billions and billions of dollars to you, you're pretty happy. You know, even though your country's at war, and I believe Zelensky, man, has boots on the ground. I believe he's definitely one of those people that cares about his people. But, man, hey, who's not, when there's $10 billion being sent, who's not going to take a billy for themselves, right, and buy a yacht and shit? Got to look into the finances, right? Who's not? Hey, just like they said in that movie Casino, God forbid an extra fucking couple $100 don't get slipped into a motherfucker's pocket. You know, God willingly that they, or how's he say? Fuck, they're not going to steal, right? Come on, everyone's got to steal a little bit. It's just the nature of the beast, the human nature. He had Biden in there. He was doing what he felt he could do and making things happen. He got Trump in there, man, and Trump stopped that well, shutting it off. So, of course, he's going to be a little upset and a little biased, man. He's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. Like, why are we having to give up something now for aid when you guys were giving it to us for nothing? I'd be a little upset, too. Now, J.D. Vance is a different type of animal. For people that don't know him, the vice president, this guy in the past was against Trump. You know, he wrote a book, man. He was advocating against Trump and somehow came to a realization that, man, some of the things that this guy Trump says, he agreed with. So for whatever reason, they made up, and now he's in a position of power, right? Should he have voiced his opinion? Maybe not. You know, I mean, it's crazy because I've seen J.D. Vance already do more than I've seen our last three previous fucking vice presidents do, period, right? So he's there, man. He's preparing to be the next president in the future, or hoping to be, you know? So he's getting firsthand training. And what he was trying to say, for those of you that are, there's a lot of people, man, going in, J.D. Vance should have kept his fucking mouth shut. No. What he said, if you read between the lines, what he said was, we need diplomacy. Meaning, we need two people to come to the table and talk about it before anything can happen, man. I don't see nothing wrong with that. See, in war and conflict, it always gets resolved by words. What starts with words goes to war and ends with words. You need to be the bigger man in certain situations, or you need a mediator to come through and be like, hey, let's talk this out. It's just like a child support case or a child custody case, right? There's always a mediator involved. Someone that's impartial and unbiased to either side that's like, hey, you guys can't be the adults in the room because you're going to hate on this person or you're going to hate on that person. Let us help you resolve your conflict and show you that it's very mediocre what you're doing here. It doesn't really mean too much. You guys are fighting over a whole lot of nothing, or what one side believes to be more than the other. Now, we understand with Putin, he's not the greatest of guys, not at all. Okay? No justifying what he's done, invading people's country and all that. That ain't cool, right? But at the same time, he's going to do what he does. He has the power, the wealth, the tenacity, the people behind him. Of course, if he feels he can throw his weight around because he feels he's been shit talked about him, or he feels that agreements were broken, he's going to do what he does. Okay, is he at fault? Absolutely, he's at fault. But at the end of the day, the other guy is not innocent either. Okay, he's not fucking just your innocent guy running around. All these guys in the government, all these guys that are dignitaries or presidents or all that, their hands are all a little bit dirty. Let's just keep it real. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Ukrainian, Russian. Everyone got a little bit of a dirty mano, right? They got their palms are a little greasy. And J.D. Vance was being absolutely right when he was talking about diplomacy. Now, if you listen closely to what Zelensky said, and a lot of people are not touching on it, I will, because I don't give a shit, right? I'm going to keep it real with you guys. You know, he actually muttered under his breath the word bitch in his native language. Okay? That was uncalled for. That was very disrespectful. He was rolling his eyes, shrugging his shoulders. He felt a certain way about J.D. Vance. And he was misinterpreting and misreading what J.D. Vance was saying. J.D. Vance was just simply saying, hey, diplomacy. We need diplomacy. We need these talks. We need this. That's what President Trump is trying to provide here. Now, albeit the way they should have did it was get both these motherfuckers in a room. You get Putin in a room, you get Zelensky in a room, no press behind the scenes, and hash it out and talk it out and come to some type of agreement, either negative or positive, however you want to do it. But let's have this talk. Instead of talking to one person or showing support for one side, you can't do that. Now, in the eyes of a lot of people, a lot of Trump haters, people that just don't like him, there's nothing you could say or do that's going to prove otherwise. They just don't like him. Anything this guy does, they hate. So if he mentions Putin in a good light or tries to show respect, automatically you are backing him up. You're riding with him. When I don't see that to be the case, I see, just like Trump said, he's riding with the American people, and he's more worried about our money and our tax dollars and what the hell is going on. What we need questions answered straight up. It was a debacle. It was crazy. It was something I've never seen. I keep up with politics lightweight, not too much, man. I'm too busy with my ears to the streets and doing what I do. But I was watching and I was like, fuck, right? And did it seem like Zelensky was teamed up on? Well, of course he was. There was the president and the vice president. They're both on the same page in the same book. And Zelensky was by himself. Now, if he was professional, if he was smart, and because a lot of people are like, oh, they were misreading him, or it was the language barrier. Why the fuck wasn't there an interpreter? If you're more comfortable with your native language, more comfortable with your language of origin, why wouldn't you bring, just like every other president has brought, an interpreter? So that way there is no fucking discrepancies. Now, I noticed everything was fine. There was a little bit of tension in that room when J.D. Vance brought up diplomacy. I could understand Zelensky's his argument. I could understand him saying, how can I be diplomatic or talk to a guy who I feel is a tyrant who has fucking killed a lot of my people? Well, let's look at it from the reverse, man. You know, you're being aided by the European countries and by United States, and there's a lot of people dying on the other side too. Dying on either side, whether they were right or wrong, it doesn't make it right. Okay, there's a lot of people that are losing their lives in this war. A lot of people, civilians that are being affected in this war. And I think the best thing and the conversation that should be had is how to stop the war rather than aiding to continue the war. Now, I understand where Zelensky was coming from. Like, man, we can't just trust this guy Putin's word because he has lied on many occasions, or he has, you know, they're scared. They're scared. But when you got your tail tucked, homie, the last thing you got to do is that you're going to do is throw your word around and act like, hey, like you deserve something, like you got it coming. Because at the end of the day, you have a president that's in the White House now that doesn't give a fuck what you think. It's his way or the highway. We all know that. That's why a lot of people don't like him. Me, myself, I appreciate anyone who stands on their 10, anyone who does what they say or say what they do. So I can't be mad at Zelensky either. He said, hey, I'm going to wear these type of clothes till the wheels fall off, and he definitely did that. I just think there's a time and a place for everything. As far as JD Vance goes, I didn't see anything he did was wrong. He got a little vocal, and yes, he did get a little bit loud. I'll keep it real. He talked over a president, and I think a vice president's place is you should be relaxed, kick back, read the room, listen before you fucking get vocal. But he feels that, he has something to say, he's going to say it. And I believe it was just misread and was misinterpreted. And Zelensky thought he was basically saying, you need to do this or else, when he wasn't saying that at all. He was saying diplomacy is the way to shut wars down, man. And he's absolutely right. Coming from a prison background, I've been in positions where we've had to talk to the other side or talk to the opposition because there was some shit going on. And rather it get to the place of war, guerra, rather it get to that and fuck off everyone's livelihood and what everyone's got going on in prison, we would have conversations, or those that needed to have conversations would. They'd go in a corner, they'd converse, the people that were in that position to do that. And either we went to war or we didn't. Okay, and that was that. But there was always some type of diplomacy. You always had to get, and they kept it respectful. Even though they knew they were on the verge of possibly killing each other, you have to speak accordingly and respectfully. That's just how the world works, man. That's how life works. That's human nature. Talk it out. You got to talk it out. Was there some gangster tactics being used? Yeah, I believe so. There was. I believe it's a different world that we're seeing now. Everything is juiced up or ran by social media. All those people from media being allowed to be in there, was this a setup? It kind of was. Okay, I can see where Zelensky was kind of shocked, and he was like a deer in the headlights. He felt jumped, man. He felt like there was a lot of people going in on him. He felt, all the way from a reporter asking what he was wearing to JD Vance talking about diplomacy to Trump holding all the cards, right? You could see where someone was trying to hold his ground, but at the same time, I seen him shaking his head like, man, I'm trying to explain myself, but I'm not given the chance. I believe everyone should be given the opportunity to voice their opinion and speak on it. I didn't like the way he was kicked out of the Oval Office. He was kicked out of the White House. I didn't like that. I don't respect that. I think there should have been a conversation had behind the scenes like, hey, look, don't put us on blast. We won't put you on blast. What the fuck's going on here? Immediately this guy went to the European nations, man, and tried to get their backing. And it's going down right now. If you're into politics, it's going down. There's a lot of people against the United States right now for two reasons. One, because they just don't like Donald Trump for whatever reason they have, right? And I understand there's a lot of different reasons. I don't agree with everything, but I don't disagree with everything, right? And then there's a lot of people that see America as a shell of itself and as a weak nation. So they're trying to make their chance. They're taking their chance to bump, right? To go ahead. It'll never happen, but they're going to try. People are going to try. That's like, again, human nature, man. People want to be the power. As far as Trump backing up Putin, all that, save that hearsay, that drama for your mama, man. No one's believing that. If that was the case, he'd just be straight up and say, this is where I stand. I think he respects Putin as a power. Putin respects him. And Zelensky's the odd man out because Zelensky doesn't know when he's put in that position how to react. If you're a president of a country, a war-torn country that's at war right now, yes, I give it to you. You might have balls, but you got to show it. Okay, you got to stand your ground. And I understand he was saying, how can I believe Putin, man, who has lied to me so many times? But what you need to do and understand is that man was not saying you needed to believe him. He was saying you needed to at least talk to him and hear him out and let him hear you out. And maybe go behind the scenes and argue and thumb wrestle and arm wrestle. Do whatever the fuck you guys got to do. But the war needs to stop because a lot of innocent lives are being lost on both sides in this situation. That's what happens in war. It's just not one-sided. There's people's families being affected in real life time, right? And people are more focused on the money. They're more focused on the advancement. They're more focused on, what people think about them rather than lives that are being lost. Now, in this situation, it was a debacle. Like I said, nobody was in the right. It was something that should have never been aired or shown on TV. That's why I don't like these live events. I don't like these things because what's said can't be taken back. And you're opening yourself for interpretation, and people will interpret it the way they see it, the way they want it. So was it some gangster tactics being thrown around? Just like I said in the beginning, I wanted to get back to that. They had a conversation. They knew exactly what they were going to say. I think it was just taken the wrong way, and it just turned into something that should have never been. As far as will this mess up, the United States grip with everyone else in the world. No, this works right up Donald Trump's alley. This is right up his alley. No, I said alley, Wes Watson, not asshole, right? This works right up his alley because he's showing that he's not going to take shit from anyone. And it doesn't matter what position you're in. He's going to remain dominant for the United States. That's just how that is, man. For those of you that love the country, you understand. For those of you that are timid about the country and don't like it because of someone who's in control, hey, you shouldn't have voted for him, right? It just is what it is. Anyways, with that being said, that's my little spill on it. I was tripping out like, damn, I ain't never seen nothing like this. This looked like a motherfucking an episode from Jersey Show when Ronnie fucking teeth fell out. I didn't even know what was going on. I was like, is this real or is this a fucking Saturday Night Live spoof? And then I seen the way that guy, I felt bad for Zelensky. I really did. I was like, damn, man. He's a guy about to win in there with some hammer time tight-ass parachute pants, and they just made him look bad. Very unfortunate. And then I was like, hold up, wait up. What the fuck is he doing dressed like Spock from Star Trek in the White House? Come on, man. Even Eazy-E put a clean Raiders jacket on. Do what you got to do. Thumbs up or thumbs down. If he's going to be the head that wears the crown, I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people, man. That shit was ridiculous. That motherfucker walked in like, go hammer, go. Hey, talk about we need the more money. Trump said, motherfucker, you ain't got the cards. Motherfucker, I got the royal flush, bitch. It was crazy. Hey, that fool literally called J.D. Vance a bitch in his native language. That fool, hey, he's like, dos Melania. The gun.